Good morning, everybody. I'd like to warmly welcome you to this webinar this morning. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Karen Leonard. I'm a senior consultant here at Nimbus Software, and I have my colleague Michelle Van Dyke with me, and she's from the marketing team. The topics that we're going to cover today include how you can easily use your CRM and how it can be configured for pipeline activity, seamlessly linking to forecast reports, prospect call logs, and more. We're going to look at how it can help you with your estimating, quoting, and sales process, how you can streamline your sales and forecasts for job logging, enhancing your pipeline visibility. That's where we're going to finish up this morning. And we're also going to talk a little bit about how you can strengthen your credit control and cash flow management. So I'm going to be demonstrating from our demo system. Now, this is a demo system. It's not linked to any of our clients. We have example information in here. Sometimes it's not as complex as what you will be dealing with, but it's just some way that we can demonstrate functionality to you. So the three areas that we're going to be covering are CRM, call log, and pipeline. And I just want to remind you that as I'm working my way through, I'm hoping that there will be questions formulating in your mind, that I'll be sparking some ideas for you. And I just want to encourage you, if you have specific questions, that you enter them into the chat section of this meeting. If we have time at the end, we will deal with them within the webinar. If not, we will definitely follow you up afterwards. So we're going to start with CRM. Now, we use a report called CRM Contacts. And for those of you who use our system, you're very familiar with the fact that we have a contacts table. Our contacts table lists all of the information around the organizations that you deal with. Organizations that can be customers, they could be suppliers, they could be both, or they could just be contact organizations that you share information with. Now, when we talk about CRM contacts, we are taking this down another level. When we talk about CRM contacts, we're talking about the individual people within each organization that you deal with. So for the purposes of this, I will just filter this down to one company. Just makes it easier to look at the information. So we're looking at automotive electrical, and we can see that within that company, we have 7 individual people that we deal with. And so working on this web report and moving from the left to the right, we have our first name, our last name, we have our job title. That's important to know. Sometimes we need to check this list to see who is the appropriate person that we should be talking to right now. And then we have our mobile number, which is our just quick call number when we want to get in contact with this person. Now, when we log a new CRM contact, we use a form, as we do all around the system. We just have a form that we open up and we record the information on. So logging a new CRM contact and linking them to the organisation that they belong to is quite quick and easy. So if we have all the information in, then it will pull through where we need it, which is on our CRM Contacts report. Moving to the right of mobile, we have an interest column. Now, one of the things you are able to do is record the specific interest that a person might be important to them. If we click on to the link for Phil, our second entry, down here, we can see that he's interested in dancing and fishing. Now, these are just examples. These interest lists, like anything within Nimbus, are highly configurable. You can add the things that are important for you to know about a person. You know, sometimes even knowing personal stuff like dancing and fishing can be important. Before you ring someone, you may not have spoken to them for a long time, reminding yourself, oh yeah, he likes fishing. You might want to start with a fishing story just to kind of get the conversation rolling. Sometimes that just helps us to ease our way into conversation with people. But another reason for recording this type of information is that it could form the basis of some sort of marketing campaign that you might want to launch from within your database to all people who have particular interests or you've tagged in a particular way. So what we have always said about Nimbus is that the more information you record, the more you can do with it, and the more we as consultants can enhance your system to make that information work for you. So CRM Contacts is a very important part of the system, and I would really encourage you to start using it if you haven't already used it within your system. As we move to the right of interest, we have a notes field. Now, I've been a bit lazy and just put some information in here, but these notes could also be very important, specific notes about that person that you possibly should remind yourself about before you call them or make contact with them. And then once we've dealt with those columns on the report and we move further to the right, we're now looking at organization level information. So the name of the organization, mailing address, phone number, city. And then the next column to the right is rating. Now we have within your customer data records, you are able to rate your customers. Now on this system, we have gold, silver, bronze, but it could be numeric or however it is you want to collate and rate people. Now, once again, these rating tags could also form your marketing information going out, campaigns that you want to send out to people. So this is just all relevant and useful information that you're able to see at a glance when you open up your CRM Contacts report. Now, to the right of rating, we have a log work column. So this just gives you easy ability to log a job for the company. Now I'm going to click on that link for the client on Gary Pearson. And when I click that, you'll see it takes me through to log a job. And I'm not going to log a job, but the thing that I do want to point out to you is that your job form can have links to CRM contacts. Now, a lot of you will have a job contact field that may be static. It's just a text field, but this is where we can start to actually use CRM information around CRM contacts and now dovetail this into your actual jobs on the system. And when we use the lookup for CRM contact, we see the 7 people that are in CRM contacts, and we can choose which of the contacts it is that is the CRM contact for this job. And I just wanted to show this to you because you may have CRM contacts on your system, but you may not have linked it to your job form. Now, this is simple configuration work that any one of us consultants can do for you. And as I'm talking, I hope I'm just sparking questions and ideas for you that you can contact us about. So we won't log a job at this point. We'll go back to our CRM Contacts Report. To the right of log work, we also have our call log. And we're going to talk about call log next, so I'm not actually going to do it. But from here, we could actually log a call to this person within the automotive electrical company. We can also see other call log information coming in here around the history, the number of calls that have been made. Now, we can see that for Gary Pearson, there has been 2 calls made, but for the organisation as a whole, there have been 8 calls made. So here at CRM Contacts, if we're using our call log system, we see that information coming in here. And the final thing I want to talk about here is the email column. I don't have Outlook on this server, but if you were using this on your server, your local desktop, this would link you to your Outlook program. It would open up an email already with Gary as the recipient. So right here from our CRM Contacts Report, we're able to actually email out and get communication going with that person within the company. So this is CRM Contacts. This is a standard part of your system. You will already have it in there. If you're not using it, I encourage you to start using it. If you would like to configure it to make it more usable for your context, contact us because we can do that work for you. So that's CRM Contacts. We're now going to move on and talk about call log. Now, before I do, I just want to explain when I use the term call log, we're not just referring to phone calls. When we use the word call, we refer to any form of communication between someone in your company and another person. So a call could be a phone call. It could be an email. It could be a meeting that you want to record the details about. It could be a document that's sent out to another party or a document that's received from another party. So as we talk about call log, just bear that in mind that we're not just talking about phone calls. So we have a call log report. Now, when I open this, the system, I'm Adam on the system, so it filters this report to Adam's calls because the menu is, it's kind of expecting that I as Adam would be interested in my calls and looking at any follow-up action that I need to take. So it's filtering to me. I could remove that filter and then we would see all of the call logs on the system. Now, for the purposes of talking about call log, I'm just going to zoom down to one particular call. And in this case, we're talking about using the call log part of your system in terms of debt collection, following up on overdue accounts. Now, this is just one way of using it. So in this case, we can see that Adam made a call on the 5th of May regarding an overdue account. And we can see this here. The reason is for the non-payment of the April invoice. We can see that it's 3 days since the call was made and that Adam has set an action date of the 23rd of May. So Adam has put a reminder on here for himself to say he needs to take further action on the 23rd of May. So just moving across, we can see that the client is Automotive Electrical. We can see that the call was made to Bill Smith and it's for non-payment of account. And even at this high level, we can see from the call logs, the call notes, that Bill apologised for the late payment. they're expecting a large deposit on the 20th of May, and they'll make a payment by direct credit before the 22nd of May. And this is why the action date has been set to the 23rd of May. And this reminds Adam to check within his company to make sure that that payment has indeed been received. And if not, then he will take further action. So when we are logging a call, once again, this is all done by a form where we gather the information, and the call log itself is linked to the CRM side of the system, where William Smith is one of the CRM contacts for the automotive electrical company. So this is where call log and CRM are working together. So remembering that call log could be a phone call, it could be an email, and we have an email button up here where we could actually generate an email regarding this issue. And call log can also be a document. And if you look at the bottom of the form, you can see that we have a link here to Content Store, which is our document management system. Now, if anybody listening here today is not aware of what Content Store is, I'm not here to talk about Content Store itself, but this is our document management system, and I would encourage you to contact Nimbus and talk to somebody about it. Back in the day, all we really had was your Windows document folders, and there may be some of you who are still using that for saving your documents. And if that's the case, I would once again encourage you to talk to someone about our Content Store. It's a much more efficient and effective way of managing your documents. So call log can be one action, one phone call, or it could be a series of actions and phone calls. Let's jump ourselves forward and imagine that the 23rd of May has come and Adam's checked and the payment hasn't come in. Well, we can record now the further action that's been taken, and it could be that on the 23rd of May, a formal letter sent and attached to an email, for example. So this is how, once we open a call log, we can actually record a series of events, a series of communication methods, and the progress that we've made in tending to this item. So we'll update that one and refresh the web report, and then we can just see all of the information coming through here. So just anecdotally, I've been working for Nimbus for 20 years, but prior to that I was an office manager, and as part of my job sometimes required me to call customers about overdue accounts. And I made my call not knowing that the night before the owner of the business had rung the customer and come to some agreement of which I had no visibility or knowledge. You can imagine how that phone call went for me. I got a right telling off from the customer, one of the rare times I've been yelled at by customers. And, you know, I didn't have anything like this at that time. And I'm just using that as an example for how company-wide visibility of call log can be a very handy thing. For anybody who's chasing a payment, you would want to be able to see the record of everyone who's called about that non-payment and any conversations that have been had, because the more information you have before you take a step, like ringing your customer, the better. So that is call log. Now, we've specifically looked at it as it relates to managing your overdue accounts, but call log can be used for sales calls, sales work, pipeline work, and that's what we're going to move into now. So once again, with call log, I hope that it started you thinking about how this could help you. It can be used in many ways for your company, and I would really encourage you to ring and talk to one of the consultants about this. If this is an area that you'd like to explore, and we are all capable of configuration, and we can all take part of our system like this and tailor it to meet your specific needs. Okay, we're going to move on now to pipeline. For this webinar, I have created a pipeline report. Now, you won't have this, you will have some form of a pipeline report, but I've configured this specifically to bring in these 3 areas of information into one place and have them work together to help you to manage your sales work, your prospect work within your system. So this is configuration that I've done. This is configuration that any of our consultants could do for you, and this could just spark an idea for you for how this could work within your company. So I've opened up this pipeline report, and I'm starting on the left-hand side, and the first group of columns is CRM. The first group of columns on this report is showing me the specific people that I've been, as Adam, the salesperson, I've been talking to around prospect work. I can see their names, I can see their job titles, and I can see their mobile numbers. So as far as sales work goes, for me, Adam, this could be my to-do list, my go-to place to remind myself of the sales work that I'm doing for my company. Now, on a wider level, this provides a report for managers to look across the sales team and to see how the sales work is going. Now, moving to the right from the mobile column, we have a job calls column. So this is where we are now dovetailing into the call log, part of the system that I was just talking about, and we can see the number of calls that have been made. And I'm just looking at the top line here. If I click on there, I can actually see the initial sales discussions that have taken place, and now we're in call log. I can see, looking at the notes, that there were 2 visits. There was one on the 1st of May, the initial site visit, and then a second site visit on the 5th of May to grab some more information that may be required for our estimating team once this job moves into the estimating or quoting phase. So this is just a quick demonstration of how we're linking from pipeline to look at call log. And moving along to the next column, if I wanted to make a call, I would simply pop a form. We're now back in call log, and I can actually record further communication around the sales process. So once again, we're bringing all this information into one place where you can see it and make it work for you. Now, I want to focus now on the rest of the report, which is actually pipeline, forecasting. This is where, and we only have a very small amount of information here, but obviously for you, you would have more. This is where we can be seeing all of the prospect work, all of the opportunities that we have and that we're working on to win work for our company and where they are in the process. The first thing they'll want to talk about is prospect jobs. Now, when we talk about a prospect job, we are talking about at the very beginning of the sales pipeline. This is before we're quoting. This is where we have a salesperson who's out there talking to customers or prospective customers about work that we may be able to submit a quote for. And when we log that job into the system, we log it at a P status, P meaning prospect. So at this point, we're not even ready to quote. We just are recognizing that this is a body of work that we could have the potential of winning for our company to do. Now, when we load prospect work into the system, there's some really important information that we need to capture. And at this point, we're on a prospect form, not a job form, although this is a job within the system. But the prospect form has some interesting fields that we need to understand how to use. So first of all, there's the date, not the date job log, there is the due date. Now, at the prospect stage, when we talk about due date, we're talking about when we envisage this work would take place. So in our initial sales meetings, we'll have an understanding that this work, the prospective customer is expecting it will take place early next year in January. The other important piece of information is expected value. Now, this is not a quote. And this is human intelligence here. This is where the salesperson, based on the discussions that they're having, has a ballpark figure understanding of how much this job might be worth to the company. And it's important for this pipeline that we put a figure in here. Now, the other piece of information we need to capture is the probability. The probability factor of us winning this work. Once again, this is human intelligence that a salesperson would use, because they would be thinking, well, based on our history with this customer, we do most of their work for them. They don't use many other companies other than us. They usually don't go out getting quotes from other people. So we have a high chance of winning this work. It could be if we're dealing with someone new who we've never done work before, and we know that there are other people who do their work, we might say we have a low chance. Now, the probability needs to change and should change throughout the sales process, because the closer we get to winning this work, our probability might move from moderate to high, for example, or very high. So job probability is something that should be monitored. It should be thought about by the salesperson, and it should be updated as is appropriate. And I will show you why as we move on from here. So looking at this web report, we can see the work, we can see the likelihood, the probability that we've put on it. We can see the expected start year and the expected start month. That's based on that due date. And now we can start to look at some of the financial information. And I'm just going to look for now at our jobs at a P status. So at P status, this is how this report works. At a P status, it takes the prospect amount and it multiplies it by a percentage that is linked to the probability table. And these can all be tweaked to the way you want to work. High would be about 75%, moderate would be about 50%, and so on. You can set these. So because we're using these two pieces of information, we're able to come up with a weighted value. And weighted value is something that I know that managers use when they're forecasting their pipeline. So at this point, the weighted value based on the prospect amount put in by the salesperson and the probability. And that's why the probability needs to be moved if you feel that it's getting better as you work through your sales calls. Now, something changes when the job moves to quoting. Jobs that have been quoted on are sitting at a Q status on your system. QR quote request still uses the prospect amount and the probability, because while you're working on a quote, you actually don't know what that final figure is. But once a job moves to the QE status, the methodology changes. And the pipeline report uses the value of the quote sent multiplied by the likelihood and comes up with the weighted value here. Now, once a job moves to QA status, which means we have a contract signed, it forgets everything around probability and likelihood, and it just uses the full value of the quote accepted. So that is how the pipeline report works. Now, I've done work for a customer recently where we extended this pipeline report and we extrapolated out the weighted value revenue amounts into months going out. Actually, in this case was for 36 months, 3 years out. So in this case, they were using the likely start and finish time to calculate how many months the work would cover, and when that revenue was, if you were billing out an equal amount over the month's duration, the revenue that could be expected to be coming into the business. So once again, even this pipeline report, we can do a lot with it to make it work the way that would best help your company. And this is one of the points with Nimbus. Everything that we have is highly configurable. You will get out of the box, but we can then take it, and all of us consultants are skilled at doing this kind of work. And I often say to the customers that I'm talking to, it costs you nothing to ask a question. The answer is, in my experience, very rarely no, we can't do it. And it usually comes down to how much effort is involved, but it costs nothing to ask the question, and it's highly likely we can do what you want us to do. So in conclusion, I just want to say that everything I've shown you this morning is simple configuration. Now, we can move it on from here. There are many things we can do with the information in your system. And I always say, if you get the information in, we can take it and make it work for you. And I just want to give you one more quick example before I wrap up. Recently, for one of our plumbing companies, I've put in a system whereby they can identify and automatically send out emails around warranty work when it comes due. So let's just say, for example, with this plumbing company, they put in a hot water cylinder, and when they close the job, they record the warranty information. They have an automatic email system going where on the 20th of every month, the system identifies any warranty work on these items which is falling due in the next month, and an automated email goes out to the customer reminding them that their warranty service is due, the reasons why this work should be done, as in your warranty is only valid if you get it done, and also offering them a discounted rate if they contact the plumbing company and get them to do the work for them. And that process has generating work for them, and it's ensuring that they're not missing out on these work opportunities that are out there for them to take advantage of. Now, this is just one example of the type of thing that we can do. And as I said, I hope this is sparking interest. And I'm going to stop talking now, and I'm going to hand over to Michelle.
Thanks, Karen. Alrighty, I'm just looking at the questions we have here. So not necessarily CRM related, but let me just have a look here. What is my work and tasks? So I assume that's got something to do with just the menu, how you had it set up there, right?
Could be. I'm not
Yeah,
sure. I'm happy to answer that question. I
we
probably need
can.
a little bit more.
Yeah, we can circle
Yeah,
back to that one.
yeah.
There's another one. Is there a visual sales pipeline, like a Kanban view?
I mean, I'm presuming you're talking about some sort of dashboard type. Yeah, that's possible. We can take any information in Nimbus and display it in a way that's helpful to you. I have actually done dashboards around see a call log, for example, that reminds someone that they've got 7 call logs that require action, pipeline funnels with uh, financial information and links to go and drill down. We can create this kind of visual thing for you. These are more very site specific. This type of thing that we're talking about, it can easily be done. Yeah.
All right, great. Then another one, thinking out loud as I type, is there a possibility of a connected API to say our website where when the customer creates a query on the website, it can create a new prospect in CRM and then be workflowed from there? Really good question.
That's a great question. Now, I'm a Nimbus consultant and I know Nimbus software. When we start talking about APIs, I mean, this is for someone who has a different technical background than me to actually answer the specifics, right? So I'm just going to say I can get someone else to answer that question for you.
All right, well,
Absolutely.
we can circle back to that then
Yeah,
offline. I can
yeah.
see there's another person typing a question, so just give it a sec. I know there was someone else who also asked me that couldn't attend, whether you could split up the clients into different categories, such as
Yes,
regions and so forth.
yes, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And in fact, I have done that sort of work. So yes, that's just new fields on your data's table and on your form and things like that. Yeah, absolutely. And that can all be brought through onto your CRM contacts um, report, definitely.
Okay, great. Just give it a sec. There's another question. There you go. When we create a pipeline and they aren't in our Nimbus contacts, can we create their account and it can be send our accounts terms and conditions form to them through Nimbus or Outlook?
Uh, yes, the form of that's been done elsewhere, and yes, and once again, we would just want to know how you specifically wanted to use it.
Mhm.
Yes, absolutely.
Alrighty, another one. With the contact categorization, is this easy to have a contact with multiple categories, or is it a pick one category option?
Well, the way it was, as I showed you, it was a pick one, but it could be a multiple category thing that can be done. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right, it seems like that might be all the questions for now, Karen. So if anyone else has a question, please feel free to carry on typing or send us an email afterwards. So just from my side, I also wanted to just say thank you to everyone who took the time to attend today's webinar. We really hope that you found it valuable. And as you could see with Karen's example, Nimbus does the heavy lifting for you, making things easier. So I do also just want to mention that we will be posting this webinar onto our YouTube channel as well as our social media platforms. So be sure to follow and subscribe. I will, of course, be sending you an email as soon as it's up so that you can either watch it again or share it with your team. And last but not least, I also wanted to just announce our next webinar will be taking place on June 19th, and the topic will be around Content Store. Quite a few things have changed since we last did a webinar. It's all good stuff, so you don't want to miss out. We'll demonstrate how easy it is to now email important emails into Content Store, as well as how you can save your quotes directly into Content Store. So watch out, invites will go out soon. And I think that is it from me. Karen, do you have anything else?
I know. Thank you for attending, and I hope that I've got your wheels turning. I look forward to the questions.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.